Hi, friends. Just wanted to pop on just a minute early to make sure that my sound was working, and it looks like it is. And so we'll hang tight for just a minute or so more, then we'll get started. But as you're joining, yeah, just settle in, take a couple breaths. Welcome, Deborah. Good morning, and so glad that you can hear me. Sorry to be all whatever these headphones make me, but wanted to be able to hear what you hear to see what is working. Thank you so much for that feedback there, too. And we'll hang tight for just a minute more. I logged on just a bit early to make sure this was working. But welcome as you're chiming in. No pressure, but if you want to say hello in the chat and let us know where you're joining from. Yeah. Good morning, Lynn. So glad that you're here. And I do this at 9 o'clock my time here on YouTube, and all on Insight Timer. If any of you are curious, this community is growing more and more, uh, but there are more people on the other one, and that's the one that I upload to the Faithfully Growing community. So you can get the best of both worlds if you join this one and then watch that one. I'll do the same teaching, but often there are more questions in that one. So when I upload that, when I do it in a bit, if you want to fast forward to the Q&A, you may find that interesting. And my voice always deep, but deeper this morning. Lots of snow here, and Deborah, I bet you got some snow too where you are. Excuse me. But welcome. So glad that you're here. Let me mute myself and cough, and then we'll get started. Get a good snort in too. All right. Uh, yeah, 8 inches. And we got about 10 and a half total here. But yeah, I love the winter. I tend to adapt wherever I am, and it's grateful to have some. We have about a quarter-mile driveway, so it's nice to have someone that plows that. Otherwise, my opinion may change. All right. Well, welcome to this week's live. I'm Tim. If you're new, an internal family systems practitioner, and this model, life changing for me personally, continues to change and challenge me. Uh, and for those clients that I'm able to walk alongside, and for folks like you, just so grateful for those on that parts work journey with me. But I'm so glad that you're here, whether you're joining for the very first time or you've been with us week after week. Your presence truly matters. And this is a space where we can pause together, breathe, turn inward with curiosity and compassion. And so, what we do each week is we'll explore different aspects of IFS. Going to talk a little about exiles today, not just as abstract ideas, but as living, breathing invitations to meet ourselves more fully. And you may notice parts of you eager to learn and some that feel weary, but all of them are welcome here. And that's the heart of what we do, creating room for every part of us to be seen, honored, and gently understood. So, as we begin, just invite us all just to settle in for a bit. We'll do a longer meditation at the end. Just take a couple breaths together. Simply notice who's here inside with you today, which parts are most present. And just that awareness can go a long way. Yeah, and then you can come back. But grateful as always to share this time with you. And let's see if we can step into the content today with openness, kindness, and the courage to listen deeply and be aware if there's some resistance that shows up. That matters too. And then at the end, I'll take your questions and we can explore together. If you're watching a recording, you can always put your questions into, and glad to engage there. If you haven't already, I'd love for you to subscribe. There is a 5-minute rule before you can comment, is that you need to be a subscriber for 5 minutes. Welcome, Becky. So glad that you're here. Uh, and you can always find out more about me on my website, faithfullygrowing.com. And you can find out about the Faithfully Growing community, which is a community I'm getting more and more excited about. Several folks here that I've been able to meet through that, and some neat things coming up in the new year, some parts mapping groups and workshops. And it's $9 a month. And so check that out. And today, I used to work in development and fundraising, and I was never big on Giving Tuesday. Still not too big, but great opportunity to say, especially here in the US and around the world, if you want to make a tax deductible donation to keep IFS and coaching like this accessible to those who may not normally have access, you can do that over at exploreifs.com/give. All right, let's talk about exiles just a bit, the parts that tend to get pushed down and literally exiled. And so, exiles, they're part of us that carry our deepest pain, vulnerability. Often, the younger parts we had to hide away to survive. And these parts were pushed aside not because they were wrong, but because life felt too big for them at the time. Life was too big for them, often at the time. And our protectors, who are often younger too, step in to shield these exiles, doing whatever they can to keep us from being overwhelmed. And when we move slowly and gently, protectors begin to trust us, and exiles feel safe enough to be seen. And as these, excuse me, exiled parts are welcomed, the entire internal system softens and reorganizes toward healing. And so here's some points that may be helpful as we go into our meditation. And I'll re engage with that chat. And yeah, Ashley, so glad that you're here. Good to see you. And Becky, you do what you need to do. You catch the recording, and hopefully you're already gone to that bank appointment. Um, and now I'm going to stick to what I'm doing. Otherwise, I get crazy. But exiles form during moments when we didn't have enough support or safety. So those emotions got tucked away. Protectors, and I'm just highlighting some points here, protectors learned strategies like numbing, often firefighter tendencies, those reactive helpers and protectors, distracting or achieving, more those managers, those proactive helpers, or controlling to keep the exile's pain out of our awareness. And before we ever approach an exile, we always check in with protectors and ask for their permission because their trust is essential. And exile work is often slow work, and moving slower, I find we build trust with the whole system. And then when things need to pick up, they do, but we move at the pace of the system, never faster than what the protectors feel is safe. We don't want to bypass them because they've been working and protecting this little one for a long time. Even though some of their strategies may be maladaptive now, they don't know they don't have to work so hard. And even a small moment of connection with an exile, a glance, often when I'm doing my own work or working with folks, I'll see when we get permission from those protectors to turn to that exile, can you turn? And what do you notice? Is it close or far away? But sometimes it's just a glance or a feeling, just a little softening can shift the entire internal landscape. And I have a younger part of me who still feels alone sometime and have to remind that part, even though it's been unburdened, healing has happened. My system can bounce back, and it's good just to remind that you're not alone anymore. And sometimes that little one feels alone. And I noticed this at the holidays, noticed this over the Thanksgiving break here in the US. Even when surrounded by people who love deeply, there's a distrust. And he's carried this belief that he had to handle everything himself. And for years, my protectors kept him buried because they believed that if I felt his loneliness, I'd collapse. But as I've built trust with my protectors and moved slowly, that little part, one day, I mean, he peeked out and he keeps peeking out and he knows who I am. But it's good to be reminded. And I don't sense as much fear, I sense more relief. And when I say, oh, this is who I am, oh, yeah, forgot about that. There's a relief there. And when I spend time with him, and that's why I love these teaching moments, because you're reminding me about him now and to check in. Sometimes I don't check in as often as I need to. And as I check in, that achiever softens, that manager, that fixer can slow down. And even my inner critic grows quieter. And the whole system responds to that tenderness. So here's some questions to take with you. If you have a journal or if you bring a notebook with you, uh, but some things that you may ask in your reflecting. Are there young or vulnerable parts in you that might be trying to surface lately? Maybe you notice some around the holidays, like I do. How do your protector parts step in when vulnerability starts to show itself? What helps your system feel safe enough to slow down instead of rushing past discomfort? And when have you noticed healing or spaciousness when an exile felt seen or soothed? And so, with that, let's pause just a bit and turn inside and check in. Yeah, just take a moment to settle in. Let your body find what posture feels most supportive. Feel the gentle weight of your breath as it moves in and out. Nothing to rush, nothing to fix. Let your awareness settle into your body. Notice the sensations in your chest, your belly, your shoulders. And just notice if there's tension. And let it soften on the exhale if it will. If something feels tender, simply acknowledge it with kindness. See if you can sense even a flicker of warmth, openness, or curiosity inside. It doesn't have to be strong, just enough to say, I'm here. Let that presence gently fill the space around you. Now, gently notice if any protector parts are nearby. Excuse me. Parts that want to manage, distract, or keep you safe from feeling too much. You might sense them as thoughts, body sensations, or emotions. Thank them for their devotion. Let them know you're not here to push past them, you're here to listen. And ask these protectors silently and respectfully if they'd be willing to step back just a little, not permanently, just for now. So you can check in on any younger or vulnerable parts who may be waiting. And if they're hesitant, honor that. Just get to know these protectors. Let them know you're not going to rush past. Sometimes the meditation is simply about being with them. But if they give you permission, notice whether a tender younger part begins to surface. There's no need to make anything happen. Just see if there's a part carrying maybe sadness, fear, loneliness, or a longing. See if there's a part that resonates with some of that makes itself known. We're not going deep here. Just want to acknowledge this one that's been pushed down. Sense its distance. Is it near or far? Its age, its emotion, its posture. Let it come on its own terms. And gently let this tender one know that you see it. You're here. May have some questions of who you are. Let it know that. And you're not going to leave. You might say, I'm with you. Or simply offer your presence without words. Notice how the part responds. Just noticing is enough. If the part feels comfortable, you may ask what it wants you to know, what it's been carrying. Often exiles will play stories, almost like watching a film, but only if this feels safe. If you notice those protectors jumping back in, yield, honor them. The system's not ready, that's perfectly okay. Healing's happening now. This is all healing. Just sit with this little one. If it makes sense, and let your calm presence be the invitation. And thank this part for showing you whatever it was able to share. And let it know if it would like it, you'd like to come back. And make note of that. As these exiles have been pushed down, it's important to only say what we can commit to and check back in. Then thank the protectors for trusting you with this moment. Your presence today matters. Then, when it feels right, you can bring life back into the body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Let your awareness come back to where you are. And see if you can carry this gentle connection with you as you move through the rest of life, the week. And I hope we all can remember we're not alone. We're beloved. Thank you so much for meeting me here. And I can hang around if you have questions. You can put them in the chat. If you're watching a recording, you can put questions in too, and I'll keep track. Um, you can always send me an email to tim@faithfullygrowing.com. Yeah, thank you so much, Deborah. Good to be with all of you, and Ashley, yeah, Lynn, Becky. But yeah, grateful for you all. Reach out if you need to, and I'll sign off for now and head over to Insight Timer. If you want a double dose, you can always join me there. You can find out more about me if you're watching this or if you're new. ExploreIFS.com. Thank you, Ashley. Yeah, so good to connect with you and just so grateful for these people like you and all of you that I'm meeting on this journey. I tell you, pumps me up. And so grateful for you all. And be gentle with yourself this week and join me next week and reach out if you need to. All right. You all take care.